Nagaraj sir.
Namaste. Today we have Sri K. Giridhara Sharma Garu, who is a Srividya Upasaka. We want to know from him as a Srividya Upasaka, that is why I mentioned that aspect as the first aspect. But otherwise, Sri K. Giridhara Sharma is a Shastra scholar. He studied various Shastras from the Shastra Gurus properly, from a very ancient lineage of Adhyayana, Adhyapana, Guru Shishya Parampara. He studied Vyakarana, Vedanta, and Mimamsa as Shastras. As the Vedanta tradition, he belongs to Shankara Advaita Vedanta Parampara. He studied Shankara Advaita Vedanta in a very Shastriya way from the Prakarana Granthas onwards. And he studied Sutra Bhashya as it goes in the Vedanta tradition. People travel from the Prakarana Granthas up to Sutra Bhashya. And as it is well known, what we call Vedanta is also called as Uttara Mimamsa. So whether you do Vedanta or what popularly is known as Mimamsa, you are doing only Mimamsa in two different ways. Purva Mimamsa way and Uttara Mimamsa way. So for this purpose, a Vedanta scholar being a scholar in Mimamsa adds a great value. Sri K. Giridhara Sharma Garu has got that background also. He has got sound background in Mimamsa also. Topic for today is exactly that. A combination of Srividya, Upasana and Advaita Vedanta, Shastra, Parijnana and also Advaita Vedanta sadhana. How they can go together is an intriguing and very interesting question. We want to know answers to these questions from such a wide and deep erudite scholar and sadhaka like Sri K. Giridhar Sharma. Namaste, sir. I want to start with your own personal self-introduction to you with regard to being a Srividya Upasaka, your Guru-Parampara, and your specific tradition within Srividya, your Upadesha in Srividya, your daily practice of Srividya, and your background in Advaita.
Okay. Namaste. Thanks for having me. The way you put the introduction, even I'm kind of scared whether I qualify for most of the things what you said. Whatever you are saying and whatever that is I am today, there is only one reason for that. My Guru's grace, Sri Goda Venkateshwara Shastri, For whatever reason, he identifies few people. He was a very compassionate person. I would say he is still, even though he is not with us now, we still feel like he is a very compassionate person, and he identifies people for what they are and what they can be. So when I met him, I did not have any idea about Shastra or Upasana or anything. I happened to hear this lecture. Then I thought maybe I should associate myself with a person like this. That is the only thing. It is more the personal charm rather than my ambition or aspiration to accomplish a certain thing. And why I mention that is how the Guru Shishya Parampara works. You first go to a Guru in the Sampradaya. You first go to a Guru, and the Guru decides what is appropriate for the disciple. We have seen this in scriptures. We have seen this in Chandogya Upanishad, in the Satyakama Jabala Vidya, Upakausala Vidya, and all. The Shishya does not go and ask Guru, teach me this. He just goes to Guru and then he surrenders to Guru, and the Guru decides what is appropriate for him and also the mode of teaching. Sometimes even the Guru does not even teach, but the way this Shishya is with Guru and the Guru's compassion, if I get into Upakosala Vidya, I can tell a lot about it. But what is there is the gods, the Agni Devatas, they decide that I have to teach this boy. And Bhashyakara writes that it is because of Guru's grace. So my start with all this is mainly is in a traditional manner. I would say I'm privileged because it all started with the charm of one person. It is not because let me read this, let me read this. It was not like that. So what happens is when the Guru decides what is the right time for a Shishya to, and what is the right mode also. Not everyone gets to read Shastra, and not everyone is a upasaka. There are people who come just for the grace of it. So if you ask this, there are many people in our group itself. They may not even recognize me as a upasaka because the practices and the methods that is given to one individual is not given to another. The particularly about this mantra shastra, even though everybody talks about this Bala, Panchadashi, Shodashamshari Vidya and all, there is a gradation because Sri Bhaskaraya has given certain methods for this, since you asked about the Srividya practice. But if you go to Kashmira Shaivam and also other branches of Upasana Marga, even in Srividya at advanced stages, there are some tantras which say the Guru should not give this mantra to the Shishya because Guru is not supposed to tell this mantra to another person. So they always change one Bijakshara and then give to Shishya. That Sampradayam is also there. So the Guru decides like what stages of mantra upadesha and this Diksha Prakriya, who deserves what and how it should be done like that. And generally it is not encouraged to discuss about this with another individual, leave alone a public forum, another individual. But since you asked the question, what I want to tell is, let us say you have the gradations in Upasana. I will come to this point later, but when we start Upasana, who gets into Upasana? It is Guru decides so and so has to do this. The Upasana, the ultimate concept of Santataha Chintanam, that is without thinking of anything else, thinking only about the Supreme, not many are qualified. But at the beginner is not qualified at all. But Guru gives some practices. But there are gradations. The Guru takes, in my particular case, my Guru has taken up to a stage where it is necessary and sufficient to attain the Supreme. But there are even more rigorous and aggressive practices where people would want to say, oh, I want this Sakshatkara now. I cannot wait. But that is not there. For me, it is the more of a discipline imposing and discipline imposed in practice that aids my Shastra learning. He decided, like, I did not even know the word Mimamsa when I spoke to my guru. He said, there is such thing. I wish you learn that. So I asked him, what is Mimamsa? He said, I'll tell you what it is. Then he told me, he gave me an introduction of Mimamsa and then said, you learn this. So after several years, I asked him, how did you identify this? He said, because of your thought process, your thinking, your probing nature, and this, I thought you will be a good candidate for Mimamsa. So he decides how it is. And that is how it came. So for me, he decided, like, you are primarily into the Shastram, and any pratibandhakas, any vignam for that, this upasana is going to ease your life so that you pursue in that. So, but we will discuss more of that point later. So, which is primary, which is secondary? There are people who take upasana as primary and shastram as an ancillary for that. So, when you go for this devata sakshatkara, what kind of sakshatkara you are going to aspire for? There, the shastram helps. So, upasana becomes primary and then shastram becomes secondary for some people. In my case, my guru decided this is what I am qualified to, and that is the way I am going. So this is primary and this is secondary, like that. Sir, I think you are muted.
That is really very interesting. Actually, I thought that what happens is that there is an Advaita Vedanta scholar as a Shastriya scholar first, and then he chooses some kind of upasana later. But in your case, it looks as though you started off with Srividya, and your guru guided you towards Mimamsa and Shastra. That is a very interesting.
I went, like I told, I went to, I mean, I heard some lectures and then I thought I have to study more from him. I let him decide what. So he simultaneously started Sutra Bhashyam and Upanishads, and then gradually he gave one by one mantras and all that. So for me, he started only with Shastram.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So now the intriguing question, why I called it is intriguing is, there is a school of thought, personally in my opinion, a wrong school of thought, that an Advaita Vedantin should have nothing to do with any kind of puja or upasana, particularly in the case of Srividya sadhakas. They do usually have a Meru Prastara of Shri Chakra at home, and they do Kunkuma Archana for the Meru Prastara, and they do Pushparchana also. They do puja, and sometimes they even have a Sri Lalita Vigraha or Sri Lalita picture in their house, and they do it, and Abhishekam is done. All kinds of pujas are done. And there is a particular school of thought which thinks that Shankara was not at all for any such puja at all. And this question they brought in a context when they were talking about Mathadhipatis and Pithadhipatis of Amnaya Pithas. They said that these Pithadhipatis in the pictures they are seen, and actually Bhaktas go and watch also, that there is a daily puja. In that puja, the Pithadhipati personally sits and does all this puja, Abhishekam, Sri Chakrarchana, all this. And these, I should say, self-styled Panditas, self-styled scholars of Advaita Vedanta, they started saying this is not correct. This is not what Shankara advised them to do. But my personal observation is that as many Advaita Vedanta scholars as I know, and most of the smartas, that is Shankara followers, in their personal life are upasakas of Srividya.
Yes.
Many of them have got Panchayatana in their house, and also along with Panchayatana, they have Sri Chakrarchana and they have Srividya Upasana. Similarly, the gurus also are showing the same path. Our Mathadipatis, Pithadipatis are also having Sri Chakrarchana as part of a very big pantheon in their Devatarchana Mandapa. Everyone at home also has the same culture. These questions of how Advaita Vedantins or Shastra followers should not be doing this, how did this emerge? And what is the basis of such a thinking? And what, in your personal life, how are you able to reconcile this kind of two-path analysis that people are doing? Probably people raised these questions to you also.
Yes, yes. I'll split the question into two. One is the reconcile part is second. How do I personally reconcile? I'll come to that. You ask, why did this question arise? And because I have thought about it many times, since you, like you told, this keeps coming, this kind of question keeps coming. See, this, if your question itself had an answer when you put the question. If someone comes through a sampradaya, they will not have this question. Because when you go and learn Advaita from a traditional scholar, even if not Srividya Upasana, they would at least have Panchayatana. So if then when you go to Gurukulam or Guru's house, Guru asks you to come at, let us say, 8 o'clock for the Shanti Patam and then Sutra Bhashya Patam. Normally, if the class is at 8 o'clock, people tend to go a little bit earlier so that you can't make the Guru wait. So when you go at 7:50 or 7:45, I have seen this in many cases, Guru would be doing puja there. So Shishya would be standing outside, Guru would be doing puja. And then after he finishes puja, he comes, he gives prasadam to the Shishya and then they start the Shanti Path. And because when I talk to my Guru and also other scholars, they also have the similar experience. So they have at least Panchayatana Puja. Why I should not say at least, because Panchayatana Puja traditionally it is something that is set up by Bhagavadpada only. So the question is, how can an Advaiti get into Upasana? Now let us understand who is an Advaiti. Yeah, Advaitam is Atmaikya Vidya. That is Atmaikya Vidya Pratipatteye Sarve Vedanta Arabhyante. So Atma Ekayeva. There is only one Atma, nothing else. Someone who has that conviction. I won't say experience. If there is experience, then there is no debate, no question, no answer, nothing. Someone who has a conviction is an Advaiti. And he is a Jignasu. He wants to achieve that. So he has an aspiration to get to that stage. He is an Advaiti. But he is not there yet. The Shastram is very clear. So if you talk about why, how can an Advaiti do Upasana, what else can he do? Because the experience is not there, but he has an aspiration to achieve that. What should he do? The question comes because the people have a very wrong understanding of what is Advaita, wrong understanding of what is Upasana. Except Mandukyam and the Kathopanishad, even to some extent I would say Aitariya Upanishad, every Upanishad has Upasana. You don't find Advaita Tattvam beyond Upanishad. That is why this is called Upanishadam Matam. So Upanishad says Upasana and then talks about Jnana. So how can Advaiti leave out Upasana and get only to Jnana? So someone who does not, and if you take Advaita textbook, take any textbook, probably Sutra Bhashyam or any Gita Bhashyam, forget Gita Bhashyam, because Gita Bhashyam is more to do with Upasana also. It has Jnana Kandam, it's a Karma Kandam, then Upasana Kandam, and then Jnana Kandam. Now, you take any textbook in Advaita, textbook in Srividya, if you look at both, then there may be contradiction, because an Advaiti is supposed to be a Akarta Abhokta. He should not have a feeling of doership. He should not have a feeling of, I enjoy this, enjoyership. So Akarta Abhokta. Here it is, Upasana is It's a continuous thinking of the divine, the Supreme Mother. So there is a kartrutvam, there is bhoktrutvam, sharanagati, everything is there. So when you look only at the textbook meaning, then you have this conflict. But that is not how people get into this. Like I told you, when you go to a Guru does both. So obviously Shishya also ends up doing both. When he's doing 2 days, he stands outside, watches Guru doing puja. Third day, he goes, he brings some tulasi, he brings some bilvam. And then when Guru is doing this Abhishekam, he takes the Tirtha Patram, puts it somewhere. And then one day he says, yeah, how can I do puja? Guru makes him sit and do the puja. So Guru initiates him in both. So even the funny thing is, Advaiti should do Sandhya Vandanam or not? Is there Sandhya is Upasana? So how can this question even come? This encouraging this itself is really funny. So you have karma, you have upasana, only then this jnanam comes in. So if someone keeps saying, oh, how can you do this? How can you do this? The counter question is, okay, what am I supposed to do? If I cannot do upasana, what am I supposed to do? I can go watch cricket match. I can go watch movie. Right? I can go earn a livelihood. I can raise a family. But somebody gets a problem only if I go and do Srividya Upasana. That's really not understanding the concept of what a sadhaka is supposed to do. Not every jignasu, every sadhaka is a sannyasi. We will come up to what these Madhadhipatis are doing, that we will come to that later. But talk about ordinary people, we are not sannyasis. But that does not deprive us of the right to learn the Supreme, to reach the Supreme. So which means we have to do whatever it is. That's why there is very clearly it is there. This ashrama karma is essential. Sarvapeksha cha yajnati shrute rashvavad. Yajnena, danena, tapasa, anashakena, everything is needed. So Shruti says, Sutrakara says, and why I said Bhagavad Gita, will come to that is, there is a very clear answer in Bhagavad Gita. People don't read it traditionally, which is why they have a problem. Arurukshor muner yogam karma karana uchyate. Yoga rudasya tasyeva shama karana uchyate. Yogam arurukshohasam, who aspires to reach that yoga. For him, karma is a karanam sadhanam. So karma is kayikam, vachikam, manasikam. So you should do Agnihotradi, Upasana, Sandhya, Vandanam, everything. Upasanam, everything, Agnikaryam. Then Vachikam, Japam, Stotra Parayanam, everything. Then is Dhyanam, Upasana, Manasikam. So there is karma. Arurukshor Muner Yogam, karma karana. Yoga Rudasya Tasyeva. One who had reached certain level, then Shama Karana Muchede. Then karma nivritti. Tatra Shama means nivritti. Karma nivritti. That is how Bhashyam is written. So, in Siddha and Sadhaka, there is a clear distinction. The moment someone says Advaiti, if you think of somebody like Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Swami, or you think of Ramana Maharishi, or you think of Sadashiva Brahmendra, then you can ask a question, hey, they did not do Srividya Upasana, why are you doing Srividya Upasana? But if you look in the history of about 300, 500 years, you can count by fingers. I mentioned 3 names, there may be another 5, 6 names, known and unknown. But what about the rest of the people? We have to do all this. So if one can do Sandhya Vandana, why not Sri Chakra Puja? Is the question. Okay. And now when you talk about this Acharya,
that's an interesting way of looking at it. What else can you do is a very interesting question. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatutishtat yakarma krit.
Exactly.
Is what Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita. Kshanamapi akarma krit na tishtati. Nahi kaschit. So you have to do something, and that something can be any kind of upasana of the choice of the person. And as a choice, we are able to see Srividya as. And another interesting question that can arise, at least for Purva Paksha, is the doctrinal aspect of Advaita Vedanta and Srividya. Srividya doctrinally seems to be a Parinamavada Siddhanta. And Advaita Vedanta, as we all know, is Vivartavada. And an Upasaka of Srividya, how logically they would reconcile the Parinamavada of Srividya and Vivartavada of Advaita.
Okay. When you do the Upasana, this Parinamavada, Vivartavada does not come into the picture at all. Because there is about, I will limit to Chaturvidha Aikyanusandhana. There are Shadvidha Aikyanusandhana at higher level. But this is Aikyanusandhana. That is very obvious. You have to think of Aikyam. So one is Jiva, Ishvara, Guru and Mantra. This Chaturvidha Aikyanusandhana. All are Atma only. So when you are contemplating that, where is the question of Vivarta or Parinama? So this Parinamavadam of Srividya, according to me, or the way my Guru taught to me is, it is a Praudivada only.
Oh.
Because when you look into this thing, Shuddha Vidyam Kurakara, that Namavali Bhaskaraya's Vyakhyan, if you see, when Shuddha Vidya, he says, Avidya Mala Rahita Vidya. So there is no Parinam, it's only Shuddha Brahma only he is talking about, Shuddha Vidya. And in Mithya, the most interesting thing is, the secret is, Mithya Jagadadhisthana, that Namavali. If you look at it, he clearly goes Advaita only, the first. Then he says Athava, and when he says Athava, he says, Yadyapi Tantrikanam Parinamavadayeva Uchitah, something like that. I am not verbatimly quoting it. So he says, Tantrika says Parinamavada, given that he is explaining Mithya Jagadadhisthana in a different way. So Bhaskaraya, inherent by nature, the first idea that comes to him is Mithya Jagadadhisthana is Advaita only. Why Tantrikas go with the Parinamavada is, you have this Vivartavada in Shruti that is there. But Tantra comes for people who are not able to take that. It is Bhinna Adhikari Vishayam. The Adhikari Veda is there. So when you try to explain, not everybody is blessed to, I would say, not everyone is blessed to get into this Advaita thought process. Ishvaranugraha Deva Pumsam Advaita Vasana. This exactly the same thing Apai Dikshidhar also mentioned in his Shivarkamani Deepika introduction. Why did Srikanta Shivacharya talk about Visishtadvaitam when Acharya has already established Advaita? There he says that this is not for everyone, Advaita is not for everyone. And it is not Dikshitendra's opinion or Bhaskaraya's opinion or my Guru's opinion. This is there in the Upanishad. When you talk about Dahara Vidya, the Dahara Vidya, the Avatarika Bhashyam, he says it is for a Mandadikari who is not able to Sahasa Nivartayitam Ashakhyatvad, who cannot be taken away from day-to-day cause and effect relationship. So, this Kalpataru famous slokam is there. Emantanukampanteti. I'll quote that slokam. So this is Nirvisesham Param Brahma. Sakshat Kartum Anishvaraha. Those who are not able to contemplate this Nirvisesham Brahma, Te Mandanu Kampante Savisesha Nirupanai. For them, the Savisesham is given in the Upanishad. Vashikrite Manasyesham. If one gets contemplating and then one gets confidence over this Saguna Brahma, Tadeva Avir Bhavet Pumsam Apeto Upadi Kalpanam. That Savisesha Brahma itself removes its Upadi and then gives him this. So this is the process. So this is the traditional process. Syat Parameshwarasyapi Ichchavashat Mayamayam Rupam Sadhaka Anugrahartam. This is a very famous Bhagavadpada Vakyam in Bhashyam. So, Icchavashat Maya Mayam Rupam. We are for several janmas. Anantakoti janma, the Antakarana Vasana is only with Rupam, Rasa, Gandha, Spasha, Ityadi. So suddenly if you talk about Nirviseshan Dharma, not everyone will be able to understand. So that is why Tantras came in to take this. But Tantra also finally, how do you do this? Ahamityeva vibhave bhavani. That is Ahangraha Upasana. Till that stage, till you go to that stage, you have this Chaturpuje, Chandrakalavadamse, Kuchunnade, Kunkumarag, all the paraphernalia is there. But as you grow, gradation step by step, finally it leads to Ahangraha Upasana. When it comes to the level of Ahangraha Upasana, there is no Vivartavada, there is no Parinamavada, because there is no Prapancham there. Only when there is a Prapancha, you have a choice between Vivartavada and Parinamavada. The ultimate Upasana is Ahangraha Upasana. At Aham iti stage, even in Pratyabhijna, that is what it is. Up to Sadashiva Tattvam, you have all this, Ishvara Tattvam. When you go to Sadashiva Tattvam, it is only Aham Bhavana. Parahanta is the language, is the word they use. Normal Ahanta we have, that is Parahanta, where there is Prapancha Sambandha Rahita Parahanta. Only below this Sadashiva Tattvam, you have this concept of Prapancha. Idam Aham, Ahamidam Ityadi. But at the stage, there is no. So when actually at the Upasana stage, even Sri Chakra Puja, when you talk about it, you do all this Purvanga Puja, everything. Before actually getting to this Navavarana, this is Srividya Puja, this is a separate topic. There are this Purvanga Puja, then there is Avarana Puja. Even though we call it Navavarana Puja, but for a sadhaka to prepare himself to get into this Navavarana, Avarana, everyone understands, this is the covering. And you remove all the coverings, finally this Chaitanyam is there, and that is where you go and do your Atmaikyam with that Chaitanya. That is the concept of Srividya. Before this Navavarana Puja, there is, and after that preliminary, there is a preparation, and this the sadhaka preparation. Initially, he prepares himself to do the worship. Shivo Bhutva Shivam Bhavet. So he invokes the divine power in himself to worship the divine. That is the central part. That is the most important aspect of the Navavarana Puja. That is Antaryaga. And when you look into Antaryaga, that is a core Ahangraha Upasana. There is no Prapancha Sambandham at all. And so when you actually do the Upasana, it is Ahangraha Upasana. You have only 4. Jiva, Ishvara, or Ishvara is Ambalinga, Jiva, Ishvara, Guru and Mantra. So there is no Prapancham there. So there is no need for Vivartavada or Parinamavada. So there is no conflict to resolve this.
Yes. So that's a very practical, experience-based way of explaining. Vijaya Jayaramanji among the participants was using a word Loka Sangraha as a reason for doing Upasana. I think Vijayaji, actually the word Loka Sangraha is used probably when we are talking about Peethadipatis and Mathadipatis and Siddha Purushas.
Yes.
There probably that fits. But in the case of individuals like us, we are no Sreshta Purusha. Actually, Loka Sangraha applies only to Yadyad Acharati Sreshtaha. Sreshtaha is our gurus. They are Sreshta people.
No, I think that is when this she might have put that comment. Actually, there is one point. See, today there is a Peethadipati, there is a Swami is there. But when did he become Swami? When he became a Swami, he had a Guru. So he was not like you said, no, the self-styled Pandits. He did not suddenly become a Swamiji by himself. So he went to a Guru. The Guru took him as a Uttaradhikari, and then he gave him this. Then the future Swami also has a responsibility towards his Guru, and the Guru has a responsibility towards this Swami. So he has to teach this person, the new person, all the do's and don'ts, including the Shastra. And for this person's benefit, he has to teach him the whole procedure. So he ends up doing puja for him, if not for other Sishyas, at least for his own Sishya, what to do and all that. So, and that is the Lokasangraham is one aspect. And again, how do we are going back to, because of the comment, we are going back to the previous question. When you go to Matadipati, when you go to Guru, on what basis do we go? How many of us actually go to Matadipatis to seek enlightenment? Artho Jignasu Artati Jnani Cha Bharatarshaba Bhagavan told. How many Jnanis are Jignasu goes there? Most of the people go to another person, any Guru, either Spitadipatis, and we can also include the other, this Adin, Shaiva Adinam. We can also have this Simhasanam, Adhikara Simhasanam, or this Vaishnava. When someone goes to a Guru, most of the time they go with their personal problems, Artha or Arthati. So for them, what is the guidance this Guru has to do? Most of the people will still believe that you go to the Mata, do a Namaskara to Swami, he gives Tirtham, all your problems are solved. There's nothing wrong in that. It is better than going to a local politician and try to influence him, try to corrupt him, and bend your wills. Here you just go to the Guru and take his prasadam. So that is what Gurus are there for. So they serve multiple purposes.
Yes.
So
this is a very important point, Giridhara Sharmaji. Basically, this is another problem that is coming from these self-styled scholars. They chide their audience inside a temple when they give their pravachana for not following moksha, for not pursuing moksha. What is wrong in an ordinary person being oriented towards the other three purusharthas, dharma, artha, and kama? And is there any tradition in our tradition which says that you have to always pursue only moksha, and if you are not pursuing moksha at all, then you are a sinner, you are a papi, you should not do that? Why should they chide them? I liked your comment that there is nothing wrong in going as an artharthi or artha and taking tirtha or prasadam from the Guru. And this tirtha and this prasadam from the Guru is coming from the upasana only, from the Sri Chakra Puja, from the Panchayatana Puja, and all the Devata Archana that they have. So this is how the ordinary bhaktas are looking at the Guru. That is how they approach them, and they actually follow all this for that purpose only. That is why the matas are there. There is another comment from one S.S. Subramanian ji. He is mentioning, please advise me on Atma Puja following Srividya Puja, as I am following that.
I'll come to that. This the first question is there anything wrong in seeking anything other than the moksha? Right. Actually, that comes from Christianity. Let's be honest about it. Only Christians have this ultimate thing as salvation, and anyone who is not seeking salvation through the path of Christ, not any other path, through the path of Christ, if you don't seek salvation, then you are a sinner. That's why that everybody who goes into a church is addressed as a sinner. Till you reach that path, you are a sinner. Till that D-Day comes, Doomsday comes, there is a declaration saying that yes, you have reached this, you are a sinner. So if someone is doing pravachana like that, I think he should have been influenced by Christianity, not by your scriptures.
Also, probably holier than thou kind of thinking, yes, and always trying to show that I am superior to you, as though he is a moksha seeker all the time.
And then why is he doing pravachanam and taking sambhavana is a question nobody would be asking.
Another thing is there cannot be any comparison to Christianity, because the levels of Swarga as one Sadgati and Moksha as a Sadgati above that, these two levels do not exist in Abrahamic religions at all.
Yes.
The only level of salvation to them is heaven.
Yes.
And there is no beyond heaven level moksha in that system.
Because there is no concept of rebirth and this circle. So there is no need to escape this.
There is only Durgati and Sadgati. Durgati is hell and Sadgati is heaven, and that is a permanent Sarga. But whereas Kshine Punye Matyalokam Vishanti is possible here, and then above Swarga you have Moksha also. This is a more complex and nuanced system than a very simple and simplistic system on their side. Okay, so you wanted to talk about Atma Puja that was requested by Subramanian.
So this Atma Puja, that is this Antaryaga is the crux of the Navavarna Puja. And after that, after you do this Aikhyanusandhanam, that is this Atma Puja. The Puja Palam, that is when you do this, you first thing is you take Devata from your Hridayam and take it out, put on the Sri Chakram for manifest there, so that you can do a real Upasana, that is the Kayika Upasana. Because Kayika Upasana is needed. Even though I say easily this Antaryagam does not come unless you do this physical puja so many times. So you do this Kayika Upasana, because Kayika Upasana, this if you look into Taittiriya Upanishad, Etadvai Mukadonnagam Radham Mukadosma Annagam Radhyate, that place, if you read the Bhashyam carefully, the way my guru used to teach us, if you do the way you do is what you get. Meaning this, you do a good deed with good intention, you get that result. The deed may be good, but you do with a madhyamam intention, that is how you get. So there is the point I'm trying to make is, a kayika upasana gets kayika punyam. Vachika upasana gets vachika punyam. Manasika upasana gets manasika punyam. For us to lead this life till end without any problem, Kayika Upasana is essential. This Devata Aradhanam is essential. Snanam Sandhya Japo Homa Devatanam Cha Aradhanam Atityam Vaishyadevam Cha Shatkarmani Dine Dine. So this is essential. So coming back to this Antaryagam, after you do this Antaryaga, you take the Devata out, make the Devata manifest in the chakra, and you do this, and after that you take back the Devata from the chakra into your Hridayam. And that is this Atma Puja, where you do this Chaturvidya Aikhyanusandhanam. There are some subtle differences in different sampradaya. I have seen few methods which are there in Nitya Shodashikarandavam and other granthas, which is not strictly in some of the puja paddhatis. There are 2-3 main puja paddhatis I have seen, and this is one of the thing there. So mainly this Aikhyanusandhanam is the Atma Puja. The concept behind Atma Puja, as far as I know.
There is a question and answer box question from an anonymous attendee. He says, I am ignorant of all Shastras and Sadhanas, but I have surrendered to my Guru. My Guru's voice inside me says that my purpose is to integrate my masculine and feminine. And I am in the journey of integrating self by way of detachment with the materialistic things, not keen to possess things, but only to concentrate on my Guru. Does this conflict with the pursuits through Vedanta and Upasana? Please, oh anonymous attendee, I want to tell you that you are perfect. Even Sri Giridhara Sharma Garu was saying that this is perfectly correct. He also said that he surrendered to his Guru, and all our sadhana margas are Guru oriented only. So there is nothing wrong either from Vedanta point of view or Upasana point of view to follow just the Guru and keep Guru as the ultimate.
Yes. And one thing I want to add to this is, the meaning of surrendering to Guru means just do what Guru says. We should not even have this doubt. Because now with this, the books, Kanchi Mahaswami told about the evils of printing press about 80, 90 years back in one of the speeches I have read. And now this, with the advent of internet and everything, anything is available in internet, uncurated, unmoderated. So what happens is in this Srividya Upasana, the present day problem, what I am seeing is, people get to know things when they are not qualified for. So for me, for people like us who follow the tradition, Guru decides what to do on any given day, which mantra to give, at what time to give. Even though some of the adepts or some of the Sishyas can be pestering by their nature, but Guru should have the patience. Our Guru had the patience, and he was dishing out things as and when the disciples need, not because what they wanted, because what they actually deserve. So what I say is, when that surrender happens, you go and read 100 books, and then watch some website, somebody says something, and then get confused about all this. That's not surrender to Guru. Even if Ambal comes and says, do this for me, wait, I'll check with my Guru. That should be the answer. That's what surrender means. Right? If Devata comes and do this, we have seen this in Krishna Karnamritam. The Leela Shukra is a Krishna devotee. And the story is, he was contemplating about Krishna in Yamuna Thira. So he had vision of Lord Rama. And there is a slokam saying, Vihaya Kodandam. So remove this Kodandam, have this peacock feather in your head, take this flute, Pranamami Paschat, then I will do Namaskaram to you. He says, even if Rama comes, he wants only Krishna. So that conviction should be there. So Srividya, the main thing is, it is not about the Paddhati, it's not about what is there in the book, it is not about mantra. Surrender to Guru is about Srividya.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Any
Yeah, so, and the other interesting question is we were talking in terms of Parinamavada and Vivartavada. The other vocabulary people use is Nirakara and Sakara. And the other vocabulary they use is Nirguna and Saguna. And they put the Srividya Upasana, I don't know why, but in Sakara. And they put Srividya Upasana, again I don't know why, they put it in Saguna Upasana. Actually, Srividya Upasana and Saguna Upasana, theoretically, doctrinally, if Savishesha Upasana or Saguna Upasana is a doctrinal question, it is not about whether you are doing puja to a Meru Prastara, Bhu Prastara, Sri Chakra. And in Sri Chakra, for example, if you are not only Sri Chakra, any other yantra of that kind, where is a human-like form in that Sakara or Nirakara? Probably they think that you are giving some shape, some geometrical drawing. Even that is Akara. You are giving Akara to it. And Guna, I don't know what Gunas they are talking about. So did you face these questions and how would you answer?
Let it be, because see, there is nothing wrong in Saguna or Sakara Upasana. Finally, the Upasim, if you look at it, if you look at the Upanishad, in most of the cases, mainly this Chandogyam, that is where a lot of small and big Upasanas are given. Then you have the Prashnopanishad. The primary Upasana is for Prana. Prana Upasana is the main Upasana in most of this. I used to wonder, we talk about every Upanishad keeps talking about Prana Upasana, but then when we actually do Upasana, when we do this Puja Paddhati and all, where is this thing? So I asked my Guru this, even before I got into this serious practice and all, during the classes, I asked him, so where is this Prana Upasana? Why they talk so much about it? Nowadays, nobody is doing Prana Upasana. He laughed. He said, why do you say nobody is doing Prana Upasana? Everybody is doing only Prana Upasana. How come? Is it anything you do, first you do prana pradishta, only then you do upasana, right? So then what is
Ah.
it? So, okay. So that is why I say all these questions, the confusion comes mainly because you don't learn from a person who is actually feeling it, not even practicing, who is actually feeling it. The mantropadesham, this mantra japa, the secret of the mantra japa in Upanishad, okay, it is hidden in Taittiriya Bhashya. This Manomaya Kosha Bhashya, if someone reads it very carefully, that is where he talks about what is japa. And our Guru used to explain how to do the mantra japa. I am telling this because about the Sakara. The Dhyana Shlokam defines the divine in particular format. So when you do this before you start japam, first you do this nyasam, that is invoking divine on your body, and then do this dhyana. So when you meditate on the divine, a certain form is given. For each mantra has a certain form. This devata, the shabda rupam is one, this mantra. Then this bhautika rupam or abhautika aprakrita rupam is this form. So Sashanka Chakram, Sakriya Mandalam, Sapita Vastram, if you take Mahavishnu, Shantagaram, Bhujagasayana, anything. So you have to contemplate on that as for how long? Only for the period you are thinking about this Dhyana Shlokam. Then when you come to Japa, the concentration is on the Shabda. The concentration is not on the Swarupam. So when you come to this Shabda, when you come to this Akshara, there is no Akaram there. It dissolves into this Nirakara. So the Kashmiri Shaivam, they talk very clearly about this when in this Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, when they talk about this Dharana, that is one stage below Dhyana. Now everybody goes directly to Dhyana, Samadhi, everything. You have online Samadhi sessions and all. Okay. Happens. Okay, if that is how divine has set path for them, who are we to say no? But the thing is, this dharana is there. They talk about certain aksharas, and some of them are called anachkam. There is no ach, there is no kakara. So you can't even utter that. Particularly when you talk about some of these higher mantras and the associated guru padukas, you can't chant it. You only have to feel it within your heart. So where is the akara coming? That is how when you do a real japa, as told by the Guru, there is no upamshu fine because Guru has to once tell you and it has to get into our head once. But actual japa avrutti comes when you do the manasika upasana, there is no akara. There is no visesham. There is no. Finally, it gets into the nirvisesha state where you are not even able to chant the mantra, and then that is this layangam which happens. So does it happen every day or does it happen once in 6 months or once in a while? That depends on the samskara because once you finish japa, you go on. As we clean the mind during the upasana, immediately we run out and then go and dirty it. You know, with prayatna we could all pollute our mind. If you don't do that, then this happens much more faster.
One question from a seeker,
Hmm.
Priyaji, is for someone who hasn't yet found their guru, what forms of upasana can be performed? In this internet age, when we are bombarded with all kinds of information, what practices can actually be performed by a novice seeker?
Matrudevo bhava, pitrudevo bhava, acharya devo bhava, atiti devo bhava. Definitely, there will be a guru or some tradition in the family. You start with Kuladeva and find out what parents were doing and start with that. There is some Devata Upasana, something going to temple, there will be something. There is the reason because there is a tradition for this particular Devata Upasana or Japam, Puja, or anything, and this person is put into that family by divine will to continue that tradition. There is no need to go out and seek when there is something handed down the tradition. If the parents don't know, ask grandparents, ask somebody in the family. That is why we have this concept of Kuladeva. I don't want to go too personal into my experiences, but my personal experience is that I got this, or my guru got hold of me mainly because of my devotion to my Kuladeva. I did some prarthana, I said, I'll do this if I get this guru. And that happened. So my guru used to laugh when I told him this is what happened. I don't want to dwell too much on this. Go to your Kuladaivam, definitely you will get the guru. So that is why Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo. Upanishad is very clear. Why we have to go and seek gurus in internet? Ask parents.
What an excellent advice, Giridhara Sharmaji. Actually, that very much aligns with our common practice on the ground of all the Hindus and all the Pandita Pamara sadhakas. Everyone, we know about Kuladaivam, and it was so amazing to hear from you that you very easily claim that it is your Kuladaivam which took you to the Guru. Oh wow! Really, that is a great suggestion. That is a great advice to the scholars here. Finally, I think before we close, we can even go to Shankaracharya's own Srividya related works. When we talk of Shankaracharya's Shankara Bhagavadpada's works, Srividyopasaka's also quote from Shankara Bhagavadpada's works. Can you please just comment briefly, because we have 2 more minutes, we can conclude with those comments.
See, there is one of the epithet for him is he is a Shanmarga Pravartaka. So not only Srividya Upasaka, any Ganapatya, Saura, unfortunately those traditions are lost now to a lot of people now. He is the one who actually organized a lot of this. If one reads this Prapanchasara Tantram, starting from Onkara Upasana, Gayatri Upasana, everything is, he is the one who actually organized it. Because historically, if you see, the period before him was very confused period. One Kumarala Bhatta came and then revived this Vaidika Dharma, but he had to take to one extreme because most of them are Nastika Dharma, Nastika philosophy system. Kumarala Bhatta came and then established this. But he had taken to the extreme where he did not talk about Ishvara at all. So Acharya came, he was supposed to have eliminated 72 Durmatam just by his compassion and Vadam. He did not do any conversion like it is done. He did not go for want of better word, this war for religion. Okay? I don't know whether to use word like jihad and all. Okay? Just out of compassion. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. And then, but not everybody can be there. See, he had a great Shishya like Hastamalakacharya. He had a great scholar like Sureshwaracharya. He had a very great devout person like Padmapadacharya. But not everyone can be Hastamalakacharya. He is a very practical person. So people need some hold. That is why Asai to Himachali went multiple times. Everywhere you go, there is somebody say Adi Shankara did Sri Chakra Pradishta, Adi Shankara did this. We have this. Who can dispute that? See, if we can dispute, we can dispute anything. So Acharya he is not only Srividya, for all the Shanmatam, he is the one who is, and like I told, this Panchayatana Puja also was organized by Acharya only. So we talk about Saundarya Lahiri, talk about Trishati Bhashyam, talk about Prapanchasara Tantra. These are the 3 main works. But for a serious Upasaka, even more than the Saundarya Lahiri, this Devi Bhujanga Stotram has a lot of hidden secrets. When I tried to learn, because my teacher started this habit for me. We have to do this Shankara Granthavali Parayanam every year during Shankara Jayanti. And then it became a habit. We keep doing it several times a year. I have done all the Sotra Parayanam. And most of the things with this translation and all, because I can't go and bother him for everything. The translation and all, I learn this meaning and all. And whenever I had doubt, I will go and ask him. This Devi Bhujanga Stotram, when I went to him, he said a few shlokas he kept aside. He said, now I cannot do this. I have to teach you only if and only if I give you so and so mantra. So then I had to wait for several years, and the day he gave me the mantra, I remembered, and then I asked him. Then he explained. So Devi Bhujanga Stotram has, there's a lot of stotras where he has all this Srividya concepts hidden, the philosophical concepts of Srividya hidden, without violating the Advaita Siddhanta. And this Sesha Sheshi Bhavam, that is Sharira Shariri Bhavam, Sesha Sheshi Bhavam, which Vishishtadvaitam is there explicitly in the Saundarya Lahari. He did not worry about does it conflict with Advaita and all. At that level, it is needed. So Acharya has done great thing for this, and that is why even in this Annaya Puja, we have this Navavarna Puja. One of the things is Shankara Bhagavadpada also gets mentioned there in Srividya Puja.
Thank you very much, sir. Before we close, there are some seekers' questions about Kuladaivatam. Someone was asking whether he can choose a Kuladaivatam. Yes, if you do not know your Kuladaivatam, if you start choosing your Kuladaivatam, your lineage, your children and grandchildren and afterwards also, that becomes the Kuladaivatam and people can follow. That's how probably Kuladaivatams in the beginning were chosen also. So thank you very much, all the audience, and particularly Sir Giridhara Sharma Garu, Acharya Giridhara Sharma Garu. Your combination of Upasaka and a Shastracharya was very much useful, and as some of the audience have said, you are so down to earth and very humble in your suggestions and discussions. Thank you very much for this opportunity, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the very good questions. Thank you.